everybody, welcome. Alright, so today I am doing a review of the essential album of the month from Vinyl Me Please. It is the Arctic Monkeys. Whatever people say I am, that is what I'm not. I really love the new packaging. Less paper, less waste. It sort of wraps around the spine of your record. You have, of course, the information of the album here, the title. It's also on the spine here so you can check it out when you stick it back in your shelf. You got some words here in the back, and then of course the cocktail pairing. Look how tiny it is. It all fits into this just nifty little, can't believe I said nifty, into this really awesome little spine wrap thing. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, it goes around your record, which again I'm going to show you. This sleeve has this matte finish to it. It's smooth, but it doesn't feel like regular paper, and then it's got this really interesting sticker slapped on the side there. I don't know if the original had that or they just did it for this one. I'm sure it did. But yeah, you get that iconic cover. It actually had some controversy. Some people claimed that it was glorifying smoking, and you know, it kind of does on this side. But when you flip it over, you kind of see how the smoke was in his eye, and he's kind of struggling there. So that was the argument, that it wasn't. It was actually the opposite of that. But just, it looks so good. I'm so excited to be, adding this record to my collection. I've listened to the Arctic Monkeys, here and there, on and off. I remember reading an article about them on my way back from Mexico. I had bought this magazine because they had Sex Pistols on it. I was interested in learning more about them. And then they did this follow-up article in that same magazine about how they were changing rock and roll, and how they were this big deal, and how they were breaking records with their sale from this album. So I got home, I made a mix. I picked some of these songs off of this album to listen to, and so it kind of, reminded me of how interesting they were, and just kind of sparked my interest in them again. But let me show you what came in this record, or this packaging, should I say. It says here that it's a exclusive vinyl edition pressing, 180 gram multicolored smoke vinyl, which it looks amazing. I'm going to show you what that looks like. And then a 16-page full color lyric and photo booklet. So let's break that down and show you what those all look like. Seriously, their pressings just get more and more amazing. Oh, of course, here's the print. I was really excited about this because when I pulled it out, I really liked the way it looked, but it feels like it was printed on like nicer paper. It has this really interesting texture. As you guys may be following by now, I'm all about texture. So yeah, it feels cool. It feels heavier. Here's the back. This is done by Sellon. I will link all his info in the description so you can check his work out. Very beautiful. Keeping that smoke theme throughout this whole package, actually. And you'll see what I mean in a little bit. Here's the booklet. I love me some booklets. Printed in really nice high gloss, full color paper here. This fits the album. You got some pictures of just people getting ready to go out, which is apparently the concept behind it. It's about going out, getting drunk, going to, hopping around from different bars and talking to some girls, dealing with some shit bouncers, and just, I don't know, the frustration, the sort of even nihilism that can come with a night like that, where you're really kind of just going around, not really having a plan, just seeing what happens. Very interesting. You got some black and white pictures in there as well. I love that. But yeah, I really love this whole spread of like the pictures, and you get, of course, the lyrics, which is also a plus. Really enjoy that as well. Love reading along to the lyrics. And then, of course, the record. Here's the paper poly paper sleeve to protect the record from getting any static and dust. And then here is the smoke vinyl. I mean, how is that not impressive? And then, of course, as I was mentioning, more cigarettes. It's an ashtray, sort of. Just beautiful. They did an amazing job with this pressing. Like I said, I'm really excited that they went with the first album. It's a really good album. I think at this point, a classic. It's stood the test of time. Not only did it again break records in the UK for like selling so many or whatever, they did sort of just they did push rock and roll along a little bit. Now I slept on the whole early 2000s revival of this music with bands like the Arctic Monkeys, the Killers, who else? All the bands that came out, the Hives, the Strokes, another big one that's a band that I really enjoy listening to. I was rediscovering, or not rediscovering, I was getting introduced to hardcore punk, so that was kind of where my mindset was. But I did make a mix and listen to some of the songs, and I really enjoyed it. Even though it wasn't punk, it had punk essence to it, and you can hear that particularly in the lyrics. I mean, the riffs of the guitars and the direction of some of the songs, it's there as well, but I really feel like that angst and anger and frustration and that energy really comes from, I believe his name is Alex, the singer, in his sort of just the lyrics that he wrote and the way he sung them. He's got a very interesting and beautiful voice. I love it when he's screaming, when he's singing slowly, like in Riot Van, or what's another one? There's Marty Bum. Some of the songs were slow throughout, and then some of them were sort of mixed with a bit of a heavier sound to it. I love the dynamic of that. The range is interesting. Like I said, in some songs it's really heavy. The first song, "The View from the Afternoon," you got some heavy, like, just wall of sound coming out of those speakers, and it's followed by this really fast-paced sort of riff that I feel is sort of picked up by some newer hardcore punk bands. I remember listening to The Regulations. It's a Swedish hardcore punk band, and they had that sort of clean, dirty, kind of garagey sounding fuzz to their guitar, that distortion, which I think sounds really cool. When you play it at breakneck speed, it just sounds super punk as fuck. So they had a lot of that, and then of course some heavier, not breakdowns, but they're like pseudo breakdowns where they're just dun dun, you know, kind of heavy, and it worked. It flowed beautifully. There's so much happening with that. It makes it interesting to hear. The song "Fake Tales from San Francisco" being one of my favorites, sort of led off with this really funky sounding riff. Typically not something that I would imagine like a hard rock band using as their lead off riff. They typically stick to something a little more generic sounding. It gets boring. I mean, that's one of my biggest arguments. Even with hardcore music, sometimes like it's unimaginative. It's kind of just repeating what's been done. Very few bands out there that really broke past that and defined their own sound. Sort of like the Dead Kennedys, and I kind of hear that with their music, where they're leading off with these very interesting riffs, and they're just not typical. So I think that's a great example of that. You can definitely hear it yourself if you pick up this album. If you're gonna start anywhere, start here. With this album here. New stuff's coming out apparently, so I'm excited to hear that. Or even the AM record is good too. You probably heard some of the singles on the radio or movies, commercials. They're everywhere. But yeah, they're defined as being like this garage rock, post-punk sort of band. And yeah, like there are elements of all that in there. But I think, yeah, definitely worth the listen. It's a great streaming album if you're just driving somewhere, or if you're at home you want to just rock out. They will definitely help you get there. Great packaging, of course. Great selection from Vinyl Me Please. They just announced the new album of the month, Clips, Lord Willing. That's coming out next month. If you want that referral, give me your email, comment down below, or send in a message, or Instagram it to me, or whatever. Facebook, I'm all there. Check it out. I'll get that to you. I get $10, you get $10, and we get some classic hip hop. Or maybe you can try to get one of these bad boys in your collection as well. But there it is. Quick review. I mean, it's an album that's been around for a very long time. I don't feel like I can really add to it. So I'm just going to show you what it sounds like, my opinions, what I liked about it. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for making it to the end. As always, links are in the description down below. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you guys on the next one.